Hi everyone, Olivia Reiner here for Packers News, joined by Pete Doherty, and we are here to preview the 7-2 Green Bay Packers game today against the Carolina Panthers. Pete, it is 35 degrees right now. It's supposed to stay around here for the start of the game, and let me tell you, I think a lot of Packers fans would say this is perfect football weather.
You know, if you're out there running around it's fine. It's a little chilly just standing here, not awful, but a little chilly. And I don't know if people noticed, this is a first for us, though.
Yeah.
We're actually on the field.
Would you believe it? So, if you were with us in the Kansas City game, you may have seen the photo bomber, Notorious. He's hung out with us for about 5 minutes or so. He is pretty much the reason why we are on the field right now. We use that as leverage to allow the Packers to credential us to be on the field for pregame. So, what do we have to say to the photo bomber?
I guess we have
a
to
big
say
thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. So guys, before we get into it too much, I just want to make sure that we are good on Facebook right now. If you were with us just a couple of days ago, we had some audio issues, so I do want to make sure we are good to go. All right, everyone is acting normally in the Facebook chat right now, so I'm assuming you can all hear us. We've got our gloves on. Mine happen to be very fancy touchscreen gloves, so hopefully my fingers can maneuver the chat a little bit, but it might be kind of difficult. But I see all of you guys in here. Hello, Davey is watching from Lafayette, Indiana. We've got Chris saying that it should be chilly. It's November in Green Bay. Chris is correct. This is exactly what it's supposed to feel like, guys. Craig is in snowy Calgary. So it's probably a little bit colder today in Calgary than it is down here in Green Bay, yeah? All right, so guys, what we usually do is start with the inactive, so why don't we continue the tradition and talk about the inactives? Pete, take it away.
Oh, the honor is mine.
Yes.
Ryan Grant, he has not been active yet for a game.
Nope.
Kadar Holman, Josh Jackson, Cole Madison, Adam Pankey, Robert Tonyan, you counted it up, this is his 5th game?
Yes, he's been out since Dallas, yes.
You know, it looked like, and the last one is Dexter Williams, it looked like Tonyan was getting close because he practiced all the previous week and was doubtful last week. Was he questionable last week?
I think he might have been a smidge, yes.
I think he was questionable. And then he practiced Wednesday and Thursday this week, but then not Friday. So I wonder, I mean, obviously he's going to at least get through the bye now to get healthy.
He was in the locker room very briefly on Friday. Some reporters wanted to talk to him, hear what's up with him and his injury, and he did not come back to the locker room. So we don't know exactly what's going on with Tonyan. We'll see next week if anything comes out, if there's anything more going on. But Matt LaFleur did say that every week he's getting there, and then there's some sort of setback that keeps him out.
The bye will do him well, then he won't have to practice at all next week, so he can just do rehab and whatever conditioning the injury allows him to do. And then I'd be a little surprised if it took until San Francisco, only not knowing the extent of the injury, but only going by the practice pattern up to now.
So something also worth noting, Jair Alexander was on the injury report on Sunday with a groin injury, and Adrian Amos has been on the injury report all week with a hamstring injury. He was a participant in practice on Friday. He was a non-participant in practice leading up to Friday. So it's worth noting that those guys are both good to go and they will be active today. So
yeah, guys, you got to play hard at this time of year. I was especially interested in Kevin King's practice week. No practice Wednesday, limited I think Thursday and Friday. So he's not at full strength. Was he limited, or I don't have the injury report up, but I know he was off Wednesday and went Thursday and Friday. Got the feeling watching last week, and they only played him about, I think he only played 25 snaps or so. He's probably not at full strength right now. He had that groin injury a little earlier in the season.
Right, he'll be someone to keep an eye on to see if maybe he's on some sort of snap count today. Eric says, Pete, you need a hat.
I do. I've got one in my pocket, but you know what? We're just going to gut it out.
Yeah, you know what? I got a couple hats too. I've got a scarf if Pete needs it. So, Pete, you have your options if you change your mind.
I think I've just been called a wimp, which is true, by the way.
All right, let's see if you guys have any questions related to the game today, let me know. We've got, Ragnar is in our chat right now. He's in Sweden, so that's pretty cool. You guys are from all over the place. Dave says that the Packers will win today. You heard it here first, he says. Well, if you read our predictions just a couple days ago, you would have heard it over there too. I think everyone on our staff has the Packers winning today. but they're close games in all the predictions.
I was going to say just like last week, but that's not true because Stu Courtney, our boss, actually had the Chargers winning, and they did. I think there was a unanimous sense that this would be a rebound game and that they would, that loss last week gave LaFleur a cudgel to hammer over all the players. If you don't come ready to play, so that they'll probably just have a rebound game. But you never know until they take the field. It'll be decided right behind us here.
Yeah. If you just heard all the noise, Zadarius Smith just ran out behind us. So lots of crowd noise going on. Just thought I'd let you guys know.
It was interesting when we walked in, saw Troy Aikman had a long conversation with his old offensive coordinator, Norv Turner, who was Carolina's offensive coordinator. It looked like they had a really long talk.
You learn so much more standing out here on the sideline than you do in the parking lot. You'd be very shocked. So let's talk about someone who's sure to give the Packers lots of fits today. Carolina Panthers, Christian McCaffrey. He has well over half of the team's offensive touches. So just to put that into perspective a little bit, Aaron Jones, I think, has around 37% of the Packers' touches. McCaffrey has like 55%. He is an enormous part of this offense. What on earth are the Packers going to do to stop him on both sides of the ball, both in the air and on the ground?
When I was reading Tom Silverstein today in the 5 Things to Watch, and it listed a lot of the stats for McCaffrey, amongst them was that over 50%, which is mind-blowing. Part of I had to wonder, he's not the biggest guy. He may make it through the season, but how long of a career is he going to have with that many touches and that many hits that he's taking? He's just not a big guy. Obviously a very talented player. I think Mike Patton basically summed it up in his press conference, this week. It's really, you don't want to cover the guy with a linebacker. You can only do it if you definitely are doubling him. So I think it'll be a safety covering him a lot, which that's rare for a running back to have a safety on those duties. That probably means bringing the safety up in the box a lot, which opens you up to getting beat deep.
So if they do have a safety on him, how many carries do you anticipate him getting today?
I would think, with him, it's probably touches more than carries, but he does lead. I think he leads the league in carries. So if they run the ball with any kind of success, which many teams have against the Packers, this guy could be up around 25 to 30.
Yeah, the only team that was really able to stifle McCaffrey were the Buccaneers, and I think they held him to under 40 rushing yards in both the times that they faced him, which is impressive. And one of the we had someone in here. What was the tip? Sorry guys, I'm losing. You're all many comments.
I wonder if the Bucs, if they just have better run-stopping personnel, or if they were doing something schematically because that's for a guy who has that many yards to do it, not just in one game but in 2. That's no fluke.
Yeah, someone said in these comments, I apologize, I lost your name, said that the Packers should really stack the line and keep that box crowded.
They're going to have to.
They have no choice. Yeah.
And again, there's a ripple effect there though, because then you are more susceptible. You have fewer double teams. You might have to play more man in coverage, so it's got its downside.
So if you look on the other side of the ball, the Panthers and their run defense isn't all that much better than the Packers.
It's been about the same. Yeah.
And in fact, I think the Panthers, have allowed more rushing touchdowns, more yards per carry than the Packers, which is saying quite a bit.
It is.
And that, I think, to me, would be an indicator that Matt LaFleur is going to want to run the ball a lot today.
I would think we'll see a lot of Aaron Jones, a lot of Jamal Williams. They also talked about getting those guys the ball in the passing game too, which is, those swing passes are basically serve the purpose of runs oftentimes. But yeah, I would think both of those guys will get a lot of work.
We'll go back to Christian McCaffrey. Blake wants to know, does Oren Burks match up good versus McCaffrey? This is an interesting question because we haven't seen Pettin put a lot of trust in Oren Burks this season. But that being said, when you think of a linebacker, an inside linebacker on this team that might be fast enough to keep up with McCaffrey, it's probably Burks.
He's the only one, yeah.
Right. So if Pettin's gonna use an inside linebacker on McCaffrey, which you don't seem to think he will, my guess is that it would be Burks, but I'm not sure if they will.
Yeah, and when he first came back from the pec injury, no surprise at all. First couple games he didn't play a lot, but he's been back for a while now. It's not a good sign that he hasn't been able to get on the field. They just obviously don't have the trust in him. Maybe something changes this week, but last week I think he had a total of 8 snaps. He's been back for more than a month now. That's not very many snaps. So apparently he's not doing whatever needs to be done in practice to give Mike Pettine the faith to play him a lot of snaps in the defense. Maybe that one of these weeks that will change, but it hasn't up to now.
Yeah, a couple guys in the comments here. Glenn asking about Josh Jackson. He's not active today. He was not active last week. He's had a really hard time finding the field this season. Mike Pettine spoke today this week to the media, and he acknowledged that Josh Jackson, his early injury in training camp really held him back at the beginning of the season. Chandon Sullivan was able to leap over him and get some more reps out there. And right now they're not really sure what Jackson's role is on the field. He last season played cornerback. This season they've been trying him more at safety, and apparently nothing's really sticking for him right now.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting. Pettine at one point, when talking about Jackson, said that he thought his best position is nickel corner, which is Tremont Williams is in that role right now. Now they play a lot of different guys in there, so he still could be active because he does play other positions, but they obviously like what Sullivan is, amongst others, is doing better than Jackson. And I don't know, I wonder if it's an issue of straight line speed, how much of an issue that is. That was the big knock on him coming out of Iowa last year.
And not to mention Ibrahim Campbell is back this week, and he's active in the game today against the Panthers. We'll expect to see him in some capacity. My gut tells me he'll probably be on some sort of snap count. It is his first game back after being on PUP for a
serious
while.
Injury, yeah.
So it's who knows? He might be able to give some extra coverage there for the Packers.
Yeah, just like who was it last week? We were Sternberger. We were talking what be special teams, and he played one snap, which didn't even count because there was a penalty.
Yeah, right.
I would assume similarly for Campbell this week, especially with the serious injury he's coming off of. We may only see him on special teams. What'll be interesting, though, is 5 weeks from now, is he getting a lot more snaps in the formerly Raven Green role of the hybrid safety inside linebacker?
I'm going to be a little less conservative than you are. I'm going to argue that he'll get a little bit more involved.
You got some inside info on this?
No, I have no inside info, but if you were comparing him to Sternberger, Campbell's a veteran in this league, and I think Mike Pettine has a little bit more faith in him than perhaps Hackett and LaFleur have in Sternberger as a rookie, coming off of injured reserve.
Very well could be.
I would say it's going to be a bit different.
The one thing that I wondered was he's been out for so long. He's been out since last November, so
it's been a while.
He hasn't played a lot of football, but he is an assignment sure veteran guy. Maybe he does get some snaps in there. In fact, maybe they play him a decent amount. With McCaffrey, maybe that's a guy they try to match up with McCaffrey. My guess would be no, but you never know what these guys are planning. You just don't know unless you're sitting in on the meetings.
So Blake points out that the Packers special teams, besides J.K. Scott, have been awful. Even Scott last week probably had one of his worst punting games of the season. Well, that's all he does is punt, but he's probably had one of his worst games of the season.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't entirely put that on Scott. A lot of it is on his other guys that are blocking, their gunners. Even Sean Menenga, special teams coordinator, in a press conference this week, acknowledged that he has been pretty conservative when it comes to blocking their gunners. He's been usually using just one guy on each side. Do you expect to see him ramp it up a little bit and maybe get a couple extra blockers out there?
Who knows with how bad the returns. I mean, you're just giving away yardage if you're not at least getting 5 or 6 yards on a punt return. I mean, they've got the analytics to show. I mean, it's literally every yard closer that you start to the goal line, your chances of scoring go up a percentage point or two. So you would think they'll do something, but their return game, that stat was just mind-blowing. They're still in the minus yardage for the season.
-8
on punt return. I mean, that is just mind-blowing.
That it's disgraceful. Do you think Menenga keeps his job? There's no way the Packers can stay in the negative. Do you think they can?
I can't imagine. I mean, it'd be hard to believe.
Yeah.
I wouldn't bet on. I mean, there's no way, right?
It would be unbelievable.
You'd almost have to try to do that.
So Aaron Rodgers, Kyle Allen. This game many weeks ago, back in week 3 when Cam Newton got injured, probably sounded a lot better Newton Rodgers. It's just, that probably was more appealing to whoever is, I guess it's Fox has this game today.
It does, yes.
So, yes, instead Packers get to see Kyle Allen, who's probably the first true young quarterback that they faced all season.
Yep.
He's 5-1. The one loss was in San Francisco where I think he got picked off 3 times.
51-13 or whatever it was.
It was like an under 30 QB rating,
Yeah.
which I know not everyone loves that stat, but I mean, it says something, under 30.
No, that's a good stat, yeah.
How did the Packers make him play like that again?
It's interesting, over all the years, I've seen different coordinators take different approaches. Some of them with the young quarterback, blitz him, throw all the complicated stuff you can at him, to play with his mind. Others just rush forward, play coverage, and let him just make the mistakes. When you have 7 guys in coverage, you can cover the field so much better. It's just it depends on other matchups too, and McCaffrey, and again, it's one of those other game plan things. You just don't know what they're going to do till the first couple series.
All right, we alluded to our predictions earlier in the live stream, but we did not give our specific predictions.
No, we didn't.
So, Pete, what do you got for today?
I went 28-21, the Green Bay Packers. I never did see the final spread, did you?
It's 5.5.
5.5, so I got them covering.
Okay, so I've got 27-21, I think. I think that was my score. I should really look this up before I get out here. But yeah, I mean, still a close game.
Yeah.
It might honestly even be, my gut tells me it's going to be closer than that. But I do think that after last week's embarrassment, that the Packers are going to want to come out and play more complimentary football. They'll have that fire under their butts this week to not have what happened last week define them, because you lose today. I mean, that'd be their 2 consecutive losses. They haven't done that yet this season, and they're going into a bye. Yep. After that, on the road in San Francisco. I mean, they've only, got 2 more home games after?
Yeah, I was just looking at that.
Yeah.
That's it there. 6 games left after today, and 4 of them are on the road.
I know we say all the time that they have to win these games, but I mean, today really is a must-win.
This is a surprisingly important game for the middle of the season, all things considered, the opponent and all that. It's a little more important than I would have guessed, a month ago.
Yeah, me too. Me as well. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for us here. I hope you enjoyed being on the field with us. Hopefully you had a little bit of fun. Guys, I'll be back after the game with either Ryan Wood or Jim Ozarski to wrap up the game and take your questions. As always, make sure you're heading over to PackersNews.com for all your Packers coverage. Make sure you're following us on social media for lots of updates throughout the game as well. We will see you guys later. Have a great